Hello everyone, Tom of the Tank here. Just a quick update on my modelling. I haven't had a chance to repair my U-boat, install the new speed controllers yet. As some of you may have seen, I just completed a Wellington bomber, Airfix Wellington kit. This is obviously an Avro Vulcan. This and my Victor are the two largest jet-powered aircraft that I have. There's also a third V-bomber called a Vickers Valiant, but I don't have that. It's very hard to get hold of. Here's a P1127, also known as the Harrier jump jet. So like I say, the Vulcan and the Victor were my two largest jet-powered aircraft until this came along. This is a B-52. I received this last April the 14th. I highlighted it on one of my videos that I'd received this with some other kits, Schnellboot and PT-109. President Kennedy was the skipper of that one back in those days. So this has been was a winter project, but with one thing or another, won't bore you with the details, I was unable to complete it until recently. So like I say, I've completed three now: the Wellington, the Mitchell, and now this Boeing B-52. This is a huge aircraft, really. In model form, unbelievably big. So again, all my aircraft are 1/72 scale. And as you can see, this is a German C-160 transport aircraft. Again, this is probably the largest propeller-driven aircraft that I've made, and it pales into significance against the B-52. I'll just show you a bit more detail if I can. The undercarriage is made so that it retracts into the fuselage of the main fuselage of the aircraft, and like most aircraft, they retract into the wings, or in the case of these transport aircraft, into blisters on the side of the fuselage, keeping the internal cargo area free. As you see, these have what I call outrigger wheels on the wingtips, and these are to support the weight of the wings because they sag considerably. They're so heavy. That's probably why the wheels retract into the fuselage instead of the wings, because of the extra weight it would have added. The internal bomb bay has 9 bombs. I'm not sure what the total number would be. Here on external pylons we have 12 on the port side, 12 on the starboard side. So left and right if you want. Access to the aircraft is by this step just underneath. The colour chart recommends black for the fuselage and obviously camouflage colours on top, but I decided to finish this in a very, very dark grey. I don't know how it will appear on the video, but it's a dark grey. And then I've highlighted the nose, and just under the nose is the radar, which also has a cover highlighted in black. So just moving around and focusing on the open jet engine doors, and there you can see some of the jet engine detail. 8 extremely powerful jet engines to lift this thing into the air. Going back to the Vulcan, that is slightly in excess of 100 tons, the Victor, I would imagine, would be a similar weight when it's fully laden with fuel, because later on they were mostly fuel tankers, airborne fuel tankers. So let's try and have a look on top. The camouflage colouring is not correct. It should be a lighter, like a sandy colour, but I've used dark earth and a darker green because I tried to make the sandy colour, but I didn't succeed very well, so I just used my normal camouflage colouring. I have followed the camouflage design as closely as possible, so that's one good thing. Now, just off the right side is a Gloucester Meteor. This was the UK's first jet-powered aircraft, which flew in 1944, just after the Me-262, the German 262. This was all due to the efforts of an RAF officer called Sir Frank Whittle, who in the 20s developed the jet engine, and it's a long story, but he didn't get the support that he could have had. People were very sceptical about having these jet engines powering aircraft. They believed that propellers were the only form of power. So anyway, in the end he did get the support he needed, and the result is, I believe Rolls-Royce got involved in developing the engines as well. So there we go. So like I say, this has been in its box for almost a year, 11 months, and I really had to push myself to do this, because obviously I'm not going to go into the details. Anyway, with a shaky left hand and some of Corporal Jones's dodgy mince pies eyes, I think it's turned out okay. It's none of my models are in the same league as the professional aircraft model builders, who highlight so many details. So this one actually has a very detailed cockpit, and all the instruments on a decal which is applied to the dash, but you can't see any of that. So that's just one of those things. So we have some aircraft squadron information decals. There we go. So we'll have a quick fly past. We got a couple of Japanese aircraft there. We got a Focke-Wulf 190. Then we have the BF 109 models, 4 different variants. The last one being the G, the Gustav. And then here we have a Stearman trainer, American Stearman trainer, where a vast majority of American pilots were probably trained on those. Here we have a World War I aircraft, and the name escapes me. Here we have my Wellington, which I hung up this morning with my B-52. There's the Mitchell that I've recently completed. And there we have a Royal Air Force trainer, and there's another Air Force trainer. So here we have the Flying Fortress, the B-17, which could take incredible punishment. Very, very strong aircraft. Here we have an Armstrong Whitworth Whitley, it's a mouthful. Here we have a C-47, known by the alias as Dakota. A firm called Air Atlantique used to operate these. I don't know if they still do. And in 1981 I paid £10 for a 40-minute flight, which was an unbelievable experience. Shake, rattle and roll, but absolutely fantastic. So we have a Bristol Beaufighter. We have a Hudson, another Bristol. Where are we? Oh yes, here's a Lancaster. This is the first Lancaster I made. Here we have a short Sterling, which I believe was the largest piston-powered bomber until the B-29 turned up. Here we have a Halifax. So there's the Dambuster Wellington. As Lancaster, what am I talking about? Yeah, so I've highlighted the rotating bomb. These would spin backwards at quite a high speed, so when they hit the water they would bounce. Very, very clever. As I said before, the inventor of the bouncing bomb also designed the Wellington, so very clever. So we'll have a quick look. We got some Hawker Typhoon, Hawker Tempest, P-51 Mustangs, Curtiss Warhawk, Bolton Paul Defiant. Here's one of my favourites, the Wooden Wonder, the Mosquito. Absolutely brilliant aircraft, I love that one. Fairey Swordfish, Hurricane, Spitfire, Hurricane. Here we have the ME-262, the world's first operational jet fighter. The biggest problem in those days were the metals that were being used. These jet engines are under tremendous stresses and strains and heat, and from what I read, these engines may survive for about 24 hours, then they had to be replaced. I'm not sure of the flying times, but the overall length of engine lifespan would have been about 24 hours. That's what I've read. So I have quite a selection of Ju-88. I forget the names of some of these. Okay, here's a Junkers Ju-52. We have a Dornier Do-17, a Heinkel 111. This is a Focke-Wulf Condor S200. That was made, basically it was a passenger aircraft made for Lufthansa, which was later converted for military use. This Ju-52, I've been inside one in the museum in Sinsheim. They're made from like a corrugated aluminium panels, which made them very strong. This is a Henschel 126, and this is the Red Baron's Fokker triplane. This is a Russian fighter from the Second World War. This one was a Russian aircraft which was commandeered by the Germans. So that's why that's the name again escapes me. My memory's going. Okay, so again, I have a total of 66 aircraft suspended from the ceiling, with another 7 to make, which are probably the size of this Stuka Ju-87. Yeah, so that's my fly past, that's my collection. Like I say, the big aircraft now are completed, so I'm quite happy about that. And like I say, all my aircraft, I try to highlight the internal areas, the bomb bays or the wheel wells in the etch primer green, or my paint version of it. So there we go. I think it's important to try and highlight, look at this inside the B-17. There's so much detail which, if it wasn't highlighted with the paints, you wouldn't see. That's the Mitchell. I know I've shown these a couple of days ago, but I just want to show you them hanging up. And there you are. If you look at the bomb load on this Mark 1 Lancaster, I'll give you some idea. And then again, there's the undercarriage of the Lancaster bouncing bomb variant. Okay, so thank you for watching. Bye now.